What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Burndown YouTube channel. We're out here on a lovely Friday afternoon working on the old Pacer project hiding right there. So if you've been following along on the Pacer build, you know that we got a rear end underneath it. I even have the piece to resistance underneath the car, which is a super sweet drive shaft that fits like a glove. So essentially our drivetrain is done front to back for the most part, right? Well, when you build a car that has a clutch, you need a clutch pedal. So that is today's endeavor. And we're gonna think out loud a little bit. So I'll kind of chop this thing up so I'm not completely wasting your time, but I wanted to kind of showcase how I do my thought process and kind of go about doing stuff, because half of the problem is coming up with an idea to execute it. And it takes a lot of time if you're trying to think of a good idea. And I always say, you think of your first idea and then think of at least two more and then go back to the first one to see if that was actually a good idea or not. So in this case, my grandiose idea is to use this. So this is a stock Colorado master cylinder. I was going to call it a chingadera, but I figured I'd at least give you guys some decent terminology. I rescued this out of the junkyard. It's broken, but what I thought was cool and what I like to do, and this kind of comes from my buddy Turbo Joe a lot because he pushes for this, and then racing drag and drive style events, I like to try to use OEM off-the-shelf stuff as much as possible, because initially I was like, let's put the cool wheelwood pedal and the wheelwood assembly and all that, because that's what I had in my little unibody truck that I did. And I was already there, I was looking around, and they had a clutch pedal with a bracket, which I will show you because I stole that too, which is right here. Bada boom, bada bing, right? So we got the bracket, mounts to the firewall, easy peasy, and then you got your neutral safety switch, little pedal guy, and then we can kind of bend that to fit or do whatever we have to do to it. And since I thought that was cool, the other thing that was even cooler was the way the master cylinder clips in, right? And then your firewall is here. This goes to the front of the firewall, that bolts to the back, and it sandwiches it between the two, and it seemed like an easy fit, because if I did aftermarket stuff, you know, they have it done for you, but this also has it done for you. The reason I like this is, like I said, it has the switch already, neutral safety, so when you push the clutch, you know, start the car, so my wife doesn't start it and go rolling off into wherever. And also off-the-shelf parts. So if I did the fancy wheelwood stuff and my clutch went out on race week or wherever, I'm not going to find a wheelwood master cylinder if that was indeed the issue. As with this guy, we go to the local auto parts store, junkyard, a couple bucks, you're back kicking the clutch pedal, and you're rock and roll. Also, Fab bought, these are special fittings, and I looked into this before we started the project, and then even this is a like quick disconnect, which is pretty bitchin'. This goes in the clutch, but we're going to eliminate this plastic guy, and they make a fitting that goes in and clips in, and then it goes to a 3AN. So we will do a braided line that's just tougher in case it gets hot, so we don't have clutch issues. And then if this gets hot, I've heard it can expand, and it's not, you know, it's just plastic, right? So we'll negate that by doing that. But first, we need to figure out how to mount this. And the trick part about this is it's basically a cam lock. Like you can see on it right here, it says lock. So you basically twist it and it comes out, and you put it back, pop, and then that's it. And then you clip that side on, and Bob's your uncle. So you can see the shape there. So what we started with is I made a pattern, right? So this is my cam lock pattern. We'll have to get a direction for it, but I believe it goes like this on the firewall. And then you would just take this and insert it, click, you know, you'd go in sideways and then click it in, and then life would be good. Well, that's where the problem lies. We have to make a square hole. And the reason, if you're wondering, you're like, well, that's great, you made a square hole and you're on the bench. Well, the other thing this will facilitate is I'm gonna make it, I believe, out of some sheet steel. I think this is like 18, we'll see what I got. I think this is the thickest stuff I got. So I'm gonna make it out of this, and then we already have a hole over here. We'll go look at it right now. And I'm thinking we can make this larger than the opening and then just weld this to it when we find the right spot, and then hopefully it should be that. So let's take a look and I'll show you what we're up against here. This is our brake master, right? Your brake pedal is going to be in line with that underneath the dash. Your clutch needs to be to the left of it, which would be to our right. And we have this guy. This is the wiring for the chassis. And there's a hole, and it's a square. And it seems like this might be our ticket, depending on where that comes through the firewall as far as like where a pedal would mount. So I'm hoping, I haven't even looked at it, that's why we're doing this on the fly. So we'll kind of get in and look at that, but regardless, we still have to make that square hole panel. So I think what we will do is we will get in the car, we will kind of eyeball that to see if my clutch assembly would fit up in that area somehow, magically, please, car gods. And then we'll work on the square hole, because the size of the panel itself is going to be dictated by where we're going to be able to stuff it, if that all makes sense. So welcome to Burn Down. Watch me think out loud. Let's go eyeball this thing and then hope that things work out. I'll give you a look at the drive shaft too. Woo-wee. Look at that thing. Yeah, baby. So that is in there. Let's jump under the dash. Oh man. Let me move some of this stuff. We'll get under here and take a gander. Got that problem out of the way. Move this guy. Let's see what we're up against. So that looks like a pretty good spot to me, in reality. So you can see where it comes through, and this is the line for the brake master, you know. So if that comes down, we're over here. I'll probably end up having to cut this pad too, right? But so that way you're not stepping on both. So heck, man, I mean, if you cut that anywhere over here, you know, the clutch would be cool. And then this thing, this is a debate. We'll have to see where this goes, because I don't want to step on this when you're stepping on clutch. So maybe we cut this guy and have the clutch close to here so you're not hitting that, you know? So let me take that wiring loom out, and then we'll kind of see where, if we got enough room in there, but it's looking promising. Okay, so we got that unbolted, we got the hole there. And then I'm gonna move this guy too, but how weird is that? Like if you're sitting here driving, I mean, I guess you just like kick that thing with your toe. This is your high beams. So yeah, I don't know, maybe put it somewhere, but that's a weird spot. You just like kick it with your toe, I guess. Oh, I'm gonna move it so you don't click the high beams when you hit the clutch. So here is the moment of truth. Let me see if we can kind of finagle this to where this whole thing fits. This looks pretty wide now that I'm looking at it versus what's under the dash. But, whoa, eating crud. Guess we will do it live. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see. So let me finagle it. That's a term. Come on. Car gods. Pacer gods. Huh. So, show you where we're. There's enough room for this whole apparatus, which is good. I just don't. We have to move some wiring and try to get it up high. The bad news is like we're kind of low. And then we'll have to move it over. I just put it around the other thing to hold it up so I can show you guys. But yeah, that is behind the brake pedal. So, I mean, that's not the end of the world anyway. We could just make a new straight piece, right? So, let me mess with it and see what we come up with, but if we can get enough room to kind of justify the, you know, thing. So it's been a little while. We cut this guy so it's, you know, in line with the top. And I've been looking and measuring and looking. And here is the dilemma, is this guy. Awesome for strength, but not if your hole is trying to be drilled like right here. You're gonna have a problem. So initially I was like, well, maybe we'll just use this lug and double it up and then put it way over here, but then that makes the opening for the master cylinder gets into this, right? So the best thing I could come up with is as close to the inside of here as possible on the same plane. So like from here an inch over, right? So basically, you know, we'll just get whatever size nut, we'll pop a hole right here, and that's gonna be my starting point. And then it's probably gonna get into it down here, so we'll have to open that up. And then I'm hoping that the other thing is, this is my inner fender and it's attached, that the cross section, that this bolt here is on this side, not that side. Or either or, just not centered with that. Right, so I measured a bunch, and then I've got analysis paralysis, so we're just gonna punch holes and do one of these. If we screw it up, we'll figure it out. So otherwise I'm gonna sit here all day and measure and not either screw anything up or get anything done. Keep your fingers crossed, boys. So let me figure out what size bolt this is. We're just gonna punch a hole here from the outside as close as we can to that. Boop. And then that is going to be my starting point for this. All right, we have made our decision. We're gonna make our bed, then we're gonna lay in it and see how it feels. See if it's nice and comfy, or if we are sad and it doesn't have covers. And the sheets are filthy. Drilling holes is not my favorite. Actually, drilling holes with dole bits, that's my all-time favorite. And smoke and nothing happens. That's my life. Alright. So this was my final decision. So hopefully that'll hang it, and then we will go from there. So I'll let you know if I screwed up or not. But progress is progress. Look at it. Just look at that. Oh my freaking Lord. Look at, right on the bend, on the curve. I mean, I'm gonna pretend that we measured, but I looked at it and I was like, oh, it's gonna be right in that line because that's how life usually works. But it's not. Let me get the other ones done. This one on this side, if that thing clears here, maybe I celebrated too early. All right, I'm gonna shut up and drill the rest of the holes, but I'm super stoked on those, man. That's rad. Ta-da! It doesn't get any better than that at all. So we'll just have to open this a little bit. We'll grind this lip down, and then we'll move on to making our square hole. Not today, because I have a little human that is doing fantastic in school. So when he does really well, we get froyo. And then Dad has pushed it to where froyo is gonna blend in with dinner, so we'll see how that works out. But I'll show you this as well, which is pretty exciting. We've got 3 pedals, baby. Granted too, this would be the center line, right, of the clutch. So I think, like I said, we're still gonna cut this pad down, right? So we'll cut the brake pad down a bit so we have room for the clutch. But when it comes all the way up, I mean, I think they're gonna be even and everything. And then it stops against the wall. So, and then, man, it seems like it couldn't work out any better. So I'm super excited with that. And then the only other thing that I will share with you guys is we will be a little concerned. We're probably gonna be cutting it close on this guy. So this thing needs to come out centered there. So the cam lock deal. So I'm just hoping that we have enough swivel, but I figured I will dent this down if we have to, make a little divot. So when I saw that this all lined up, you know, we can do a sacrificial dent here if need be to get that to cam lock, but it should go in like this, hopefully, and then click, and that is it. And then even the hose, I mean, this thing, granted we're not using that rubber hose or plastic hose, but I couldn't be happier. I don't know what we're gonna do with the wiring, but we'll have a 3rd pedal. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I know it's a struggle, it takes a long time to build these so we can go use them and have fun. So that is that. You guys know what to do. Till next time, I'm out.
You too, boy, if you're with me. The police are gonna have to come and get me off your ass. That's how I'm going out. For the punk mothers, they're showing out. When I'm in your neighborhood, you better duck. 'Cause Ice Cube is crazy as I leave, believe I'm something. I'm coming straight out of Compton.